Or you can kind of see it now. You can now, yeah.
I mean, this one's a hard one.
Yeah, you're not gonna read this, but at least you'll get the gist of it.
I don't need one in the bag.
They are
Harvest.
Yeah.
Mile, take a right.
Or who then govern the business side of things.
That way.
Yeah,
And then the shooting range is like, you go down 78. Instead of taking a left on Fort Thunder, you go a little bit farther. So that's, I like, you drive on Highway 10, there's a wastewater pond.
Yeah, that's good stuff. Normally, you just never, and then and board of directors, they just kind of
Here's the bad news. You don't have to say it.
What's that?
Here's the bad news. You don't have to say it.
Well, I took your Facebook. Excuse me, dude. So that's like your song.
I sent you a link this morning.
Yeah.
Or no. Sorry. I understood what you meant. It's like our registration page. I don't think it's super important. I can use this too.
Yeah, it should be fun.
Oh, good.
No.
Yeah.
Sign up, Dave.
Good morning, everyone. We're gonna get started here. A couple minutes late. We got a pretty full agenda, so we're gonna get moving. Welcome to Power Hour. First up, we've got Fred Lemkuhl from the Perham Sportsman's Club. He's gonna give us a recap and tell us all about the Sportsman's Club. So
I'll have you out of here by 9 o'clock.
Thanks,
for
Fred.
breakfast at the round table is at 9, so. Two important things, people, is if you don't have one of these in front of you, or if you're a sportsman, is we give this to every one of our kids. Our kids start at age 11, and we have kids in our training programs from California to central North Dakota, Wisconsin, Iowa, and all over the state of Minnesota. On our weekends, we will have about 200 people come to town. And I thank you guys for those little booklets, because we hand those out to all the parents that come, whether they're local or not. One guy came back and he was cussing me out. And I said, what was the problem? He said, I went to every woman's shop in this town and my wife bought more bras than I've ever seen. Do it, but they stay overnight. A lot of them come from the metro area, from International Falls to Grand Marais, Grand Forks, Hallock, you name it, we get them. In our stuff that we have, these things is what we do. It's gun training, which we really sponsor a lot of, along with the Deer Hunters Association. They help with food and stuff, and ATV and snowmobile. Nick will talk about our upcoming thing for the hot shots. So we're going to develop a full ATV course, which I don't know how many of you got kids, or if you are over, or your birthday is after December 31st, 1979, you need a ATV course or a snowmobile course in order to legally operate one of those machines on public roads. If not, you are subject to a fine of starting at $150 to it. So that if you don't have that, get a hold of Nick or get a hold of me. We'll work you through it. It's an online class. Most of our classes are online. The first time we had a class is we had 55 students. Unbelievable it was. 34 were women, girls. trying to keep them quiet and listen to me. It was fun. I mean, the girls are great. When they come out, they're really, the oldest one we've had was 18. The other thing, if you are a nice fisherman or you know somebody, if you want some more of these little cards, we got lots of them. This stuff is all provided by the DNR. The DNR gives us just everything, even the ammo that we use for the kids to shoot with is all done, provided by the DNR. There's no cost to any of our classes that we do on there. And if anybody wants to stop up, I'll give you the test and you end in the answer sheet and you can see if you can pass it. Turn it in to Nick Theroux or Nick Murdock, who's going to be a new instructor, right? To it and see if you pass. It's a 50-point question, and you have to get at least, I think, 12 right out of it in order to pass. So that the handouts you got, if you're looking for more of anything, get a hold of me or get a hold of Nick. We would gladly help you out. Is how many of you people golf? How many of you ride a bike? Did you know that those two things are more dangerous than hunting? Hunting per 100,000 people is 0.04% of the population that get hurt. If you go to golfing, out of a group that they did a study back in 2006, it was over 400,000 people per year get hurt golfing compared to hunting. So we're not that sport that's really getting into a lot of things to it. I don't have a lot more. It's all, it's all revolves around kids. We have a full classroom coming up in June or July, which is about 50 hours. And then all the kids go out and they got to go through a 7-point scenario where they shoot. 22s are all provided by the club or the DNR provides the ammo to it. And they shoot, they go over fences, they shoot, no shoot. Our instructors take out 5 kids per instructor, and we try to keep at least 2 instructors for each of the 5 kids to it. So that's DNR regulations on it. And then we'll do an online class where you can take ATV and snow wheel classes are online, where you have to pay the DNR or their company. I think it's around $25 to take the class, but then you got to go to a field day. If you're over 14, like Murdock is and he doesn't have either one of these things, he can take an online class and he can take an online field day and get his certificate to it. You come in and you register your student and you will sign a legal document which provides the information needed to get this. And like I said, even if you go out west someday that you want to go out west hunting, and you have to have a Minnesota gun safety certificate. So Murdock said I only had a few minutes, so that's all I got. Anybody got any questions, I'll take them or I'll be around afterwards to it. And Tim, you can't ask a question.
Okay.
Neither you, Chuck.
What's the timeline on your trap shoot?
When?
The new one, yeah.
I'm going to let Theroux take care of that, but hopefully this fall. Tim?
Oh, jeez. That's all it takes to shut you down.
So is it less dangerous to go hunting while golfing and biking, or?
Well, you could go hunting and shoot golf balls.
Fred, I
I've
just,
seen that before.
you might have said, and I might have missed it, but is there a fee for, like,
No, there's no fee we can charge a fee, but between the deer hunters and the club, the Sportsman's Club, everything is provided for it. The most expensive thing we got is 22 shells to it. So each kid has to shoot 15 rounds, but the DNR, every time I have a class, if I have 25 kids is I get a brick of 22 shells. If I got 50 kids, I get 2 bricks. So I've got a safe full of 22 shells. No, I'm not selling them because we go through a lot of kids. But like all of the hot shots coming up with the trap thing, all the hot shots, before they can go and participate in a class in the state of Minnesota through their league thing, they have to have a gun safety training certificate prior to that. So if you know of anybody, we're going to have a class in April sometime, but it's going to be mostly for local kids, just so that they can get their certificate first. We try to keep most of it, the class, to local kids first. I mean, I will get over 200 emails asking for someone to get into their class. Because last year we had ATV class. The guy showed up from Worthington, Minnesota, with 2 boys, and they were going to Helen to go ATV riding and hunting. And they didn't, without that class, they legally couldn't have gone. Is the certificate that I will sign and give to them is a temporary one until they get their full certificate. It proves that they got the class.
So is Perham one of the only places that offer these?
No, they're offered throughout. Pelican, Burgess has them. Snowmobile classes, the Otter Tail Riders, is it? The local snowmobile club, they do a good class to it. We were going to do a class this year, but it didn't work out. And Lee at the PACC has offered to use the PACC for the classroom part of it. But I can't get the school to say that we can drive snowmobiles over the football field yet. So we'll go from there. Otherwise, we'll just use the fairgrounds to it, or we'll use the clubhouse. But we're just not too sure where we can go with right now. We got with the clay pigeon stuff going on. There's lots of dirt mounds and stuff. And we don't want to. Kids got to go over like a little mound or a little hill, but not quite 6 foot tall. So, anything else? Otherwise, Nick, I'm done.
Okay. I'll just interject once on what Sue asked. There is one charge, but it's not from us. So there's a third party that handles the software for the DNR. So when you register your certificates or you want to do an online class, I think the charge is nominal, around $15, isn't it, Fred? And $7 to register. So there is a fee, but it's not by us, nor the DNR. It's a third-party software company. Thanks, Fred. So the last person I ever thought would be our educator would be Fred Lemkuhl. But when Fred stepped up to do it, he has done a great job, or Eileen has done a really good job of keeping track of one of the two. I haven't figured it out yet, but
How much is this going to cost me?
a lot. So we had an educational program that we couldn't get, dates. We couldn't get things going on with it, and we tried. And Fred came along and put it all together. So we're educating not just hunters, not just shooting, but snowmobiles, firearms safety, ATVs, all that. And it's really a great program. So for the youth in the community in the area, we offer something that most places don't. And I really appreciate it, Fred. Thanks. So one of the things that we're working on right now is this clay target field. I put some brochures in front of you there. It's not everything we do. It's part of the shooting sports. But for those of you that are familiar with the Perham Sportsman's Club, we have 240 acres north of New York Mills that we offer hunts for youth, disabled, and veterans. We actually have facilities out there for the disabled where we can drive right up to the hunting blinds, and then we bring out youth. So every year we do turkey and deer out there. So if anybody here is interested in turkey hunts, let me know. We only basically put one group on the property at a time when it comes to turkeys, even though there's multiple blinds, or you can bring a blind out. So that's coming up here starting in April and May. We'll have one group out there that we bring in most every year. Ryan Struger brings in a ministerial group that we do, a youth group that's from as far away as the Twin Cities that come up and do a turkey hunt. But if you're interested in deer hunts, we do a lottery at the East Otter Tail Deer Hunters banquet coming up April 15th. We do a lottery there, and we select youth for a deer hunt, and then we have other ways of selecting youth. We usually get phone calls, people that are looking to get someone out hunting for the first time. And the place has got a lot of deer. You're pretty much guaranteed to have some activity there. So besides that, we're building this clay target. You may have seen a recent article in the newspaper, and we've done a recent mailing and email campaign for fundraising. Minnesota, East Otter Tail Minnesota Deer Hunters have contributed to it. The Perham Sportsman's Club has already put about $30,000 into it and has committed another $75,000 to the project. But we're looking at raising $80,000 to bring the Perham Yellow Jackets Hot Shots clay target team back home again. Since Fort Thunder Road quit shooting back in 2019, and we weren't able to do a deal with Mr. Atkinson out there to keep that facility going. Plus it had aged out the facility and needed a lot of upgrades. We didn't make a deal, so we're building one from scratch, greenfield, and which is going to be very beneficial to everybody because we can modernize it, right? That clay target field will be used by the hot shots, and then it'll be open to membership through a kiosk system that you'll be able to go in and buy targets and go out and shoot them. So you can take a look at that. If anybody's interested in helping us out, there's instructions on here on how to donate.
What's your goal and where are you at?
We've got 129,500 in pledges, and our goal is 205,000. And so that's our budget. In fact, I'm going over to Hilltop Lumber. They are being awarded the materials for that, and Thiessen Construction is being awarded the construction on it. And that's a building that we're doing. And then we've got other people that we're working with, from electricians to excavators, to finish that part of it up, concrete work. Communications is a big deal. You know, today's world, everything's run by electronics, and that's how these systems go in. So there's a lot more in communications than you'd ever think, but it's about $20,000 just for a communication system out there.
And everything's cemented out there, and it's all ADA compliant. That's
Yeah.
another big cost.
It'd be nice to see if we can get some shooters in the future that might not able to participate in other athletic events that are disabled or in wheelchairs, because you can do that with trap shooting.
Do you need to raise all the money for the pull the trigger?
No, ma'am, we already started, like everything in Perham. You pray and hope, and you do all those things, and it happens, right? We're prepared. I just talked to some of the board. I haven't talked to Fred about it, but we have a meeting coming up on the 17th. If worst case happens, we'll have talked to Charlie and Bob already and prepared a construction loan.
The worst case today, we really want to get it open to get the kids here for the fall shoot.
So fall of 24 or 23.
And currently, the hot shots have around 45. They've had numbers years ago were in the upper 70s and 80s, but because they had to go to Otter Tail to shoot, a lot of parents couldn't facilitate because parents had to get the kids to do it. So
This is an interesting scenario for any of you that work in nonprofits. Collaboration is a pretty neat thing when it happens. Doesn't always happen, and I've been experiencing it most recently here in the Perham area. But we are now collaborating with the Hot Shots, who have organized a corporation. So they're a 501c3, independent of the school, independent of the league. We're also working with Lakes Area Outdoor Initiative, which is a 501c3. And that's an important thing relative to tax deductible and how the money gets used. The LOAI, we worked on that project for 3 years, And it has a separate board. Its purpose is conservation, education, and youth. And so we can work with them to become the fiscal agent for the project. And when they're the fiscal agent for the project, we won't be paying sales tax. So we're going to save 7 to 7.5% on the project through that. But that, and the other collaboration is with the East Otter Tail Minnesota Deer Hunter Association. They've contributed and pledged $40,000 to the project. So it's this whole lengthy collaboration of nonprofits that make it happen. And it's pretty interesting to be working with them. Any other questions? All right, thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Nick. Thanks, Fred. Remind myself what's on the agenda.
Five girls.
All right, next up on the agenda is Thrive. What's that?
Yeah.
Is that okay, Chuck? Okay. Yep, you guys are up.
Chuck
We've
wants
got-
them to go back to work.
Yeah, get in, get out. We've got Erin and Lacy here, new business in town, Thrive, IB at the set, so
Thank you.
welcome.
Good morning, I'm Lacy. I'm Erin. So this fall, we started a new business, Thrive, Mobile IB and Aesthetics. Erin kind of came to me, she heard about a business platform called Hydrate. That we got started with. It offers IV hydration services. There's an app that we get. We pay a yearly subscription. We have our medical director. We get to use the app. We have a pharmacy. And we are both registered nurses. And so we can do, we have vitamin infusions, shots. And then we have the aesthetic side of the business. We have physical location too. And we have a treatment room at Revive in Perham downtown. On this menu, there's we have a few packages of different IVs, athlete recovery, detox and hangover, immune, Myers cocktail, which is all the vitamins, migraine. We've had a lot of people come to us with migraines. They don't necessarily feel like going to the ER, or they don't feel like their symptoms are severe enough to go to the ER. So we can go to their house and give them our migraine cocktail and help them relieve some of their symptoms. We've had lots of people this winter with stomach flu, influenza, COVID. They're their sickness is over, but they're just feeling run down, fatigued, dehydrated. So we can give them a bag of fluids with some vitamins in it and really get them feeling better.
And the app is super simple to use. It's you can download it on iPhone or Android. It's Hydrate Wellness. You create a profile. There's medical screening questions to go through, and then you just book an appointment. And like on the weekends, we can go out to your house or wherever you're at and do the infusion. And then during the week, we're at the spa in our physical location on Wednesdays and Fridays, and we're doing infusions there too, but most of the time we're doing vitamin shots and Botox and fillers. So I've got a few brochures on that too. If anybody's interested, I'll just leave them up here if you want to take them on the way out. But yeah, we're just slowly, gradually adding new services. We've got a microneedling machine and a centrifuge for doing PRP with the microneedling that we're going to be adding on to services soon. And also adding chemical peel soon too. So just slowly building services, and yeah, it's going good so far. But
Yeah, the aesthetic side of the business mainly is dermal fillers and neurotoxins, or Botox, as people will call it. So I'm hoping to add more services on that side of the business. So, yeah. Questions? Anybody?
Is there a menu of stuff that has then pricing.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, I didn't print enough of these for you today, but you can check out our website and see everything, and then we also have a
The
Facebook page.
detox. is one of those.
Yeah.
Yeah, do it every day.
We
You
had
can
to
do
save
every day.
ourselves from ourselves a couple times too, so.
We had
happens.
somebody come in with, that owns a summer resort on the lake, and she had asked for a menu to offer, for her resort people this summer that maybe have, spend too much time in the sun or have too many drinks on pontoon, so hoping to, do that too this summer, so. We do not, nope, that's kind of, out, stepping our boundaries, that's, need to see neurology and things like that, so just wrinkles. We can do, TMJ in the jaw, in the masseters, but for migraines, it's a lot of going on in the back of the neck and all that, so no. we don't
Although
do-
some people do get a little bit of migraine or headache relief just for cosmetic Botox too in the forehead, so every once in a while, so, but yeah. Otherwise, yeah, everything's going great, and our medical director is really great. He's licensed in all 50 states, and he does a telehealth consult for Botox and fillers, and then of course if something goes wrong, we've got a crash cart with everything we might need. If somebody's allergic to something, we've got epinephrine and protocols to go through, and if we can't handle it from there, then we send the else. So
Yeah, and we don't want to take patients that have a lot of chronic health conditions. This is for mostly healthy people, that just need a little.
we've had a few people ask, like, if their relative with maybe cancer or something would benefit, but we're not messing with anybody with serious medical needs, so.
Right.
America does physician credentialing, credentialing in 50 states. We all look at each other, oh my God, the work it takes to do that.
Yep, and rehydrates help, so, yeah.
So we, we don't take any insurance. We can take HSA, cash and credit card. So
We've also got a membership plan, which we haven't had anybody do yet, so it's kind of new, but, and we might kind of change that up, but they have beauty banks is what they're kind of called too. So if you wanted to say, have a membership and pay $50 a month, it's like a savings account that you can apply to any of our services at any time. So, and then they give you some other perks too. So a lot of other aesthetic places are doing that. And so I feel like if you're regularly getting Botox, which you should every 3 to 4 months or so, it would be an awesome deal for people to just put a little money away every month and then, cash it out and use our services as needed. So.
Okay. Any other questions for Erin or Lacy?
Yeah.
Thank you.
I'm gonna leave these up here. If anybody
And thanks for new members to the chamber this year. So welcome. All right. Next on our agenda, we've got Amy Baldwin on her way up already from Otter County to give us a recap and an update on the big build. Maybe other things.
Yeah, maybe. We'll see how much time there is. But, all right. Well, thanks everyone. Great to be here today. As mentioned, I'm going to give a quick recap on the Big Build Housing Initiative, and then as time permits or as there's questions, we can highlight some of the other core work from a community and economic development standpoint that the county is involved with. So, I don't know who has the slides.
I got it.
Okay. All right.
It changed. It
Yeah,
changed the format. I don't know.
No worries. Okay. So we just like to, as we talk about, we don't work in a silo within community and economic development. Even as a county overall, we partner with Otter Lakes Country on a lot of our efforts there to put Otter County on the map, make sure people are identifying the county as a place to visit and live and work, and then working with our other partners, through the Housing and Redevelopment Authority, et cetera. So we work broadly to accomplish our community and economic development goals. And then if you want to go to the next slide, again, to talk about the big build. So step aside here. So this is our little snapshot infographic, and I can get folks that larger image if you're interested. But again, the goal of the big build was to, or is to, we're still in it, to see 5,000 new or rehab housing units across the county. We know there's still demand. Just a recent assessment, I know it's winter, but we're coming into spring real estate season. People are starting to list their homes, but there's not enough. There's at any given time about 1 month of inventory of for sale homes, and that's been consistent for years. Even though this last year we did see 444 new housing units across Otter County. So there is new production happening, but it's still not enough to keep up with demand to meet our existing residents' needs who might be looking to transition to a different housing product, or as important, those who might be wanting to come and live and work here in Otter County. So we continue to focus on this as a priority. Last year's new units were an increase from 2021, so that was great to see that we had an increase, with just some of the instability. We'll see what happens this year with more impact potentially from interest rates and market uncertainty, but we'll see. But we're still seeing strong interest in different areas as well. So we also track our rehab units. So when there's significant investment in our existing housing stock, it's just as important to make sure we're maintaining the housing that we have today as we look into the future for long-term housing stability. We continue to have the housing property tax rebate program, so that I did hand out a little card on that, I think at most people's spots, and that's up to $15,000 of property taxes that are refunded if you build a new home that's your primary residence here in Otter County. That program will be available to apply for through the end of next year, and that will be the end of that program unless there's some major shift in policy from the commissioners, but that's the direction they've given today, that program will not be extended. That will have been a 5-year window for that opportunity to really spur the new construction of homes. So just a quick application for that program prior to starting construction. So that's always the big, before you start construction, get a hold of us. So that program will still be available. We had 87 applications into that program last year. And then on the back side of the little card is the down payment assistance. And we know, again, with interest rates rising, it's even more challenging for folks, particularly the first-time home buyers, to get into a new home. We can partner with Perham's program. This says $10,000, but if an applicant meets, we have the same criteria for our down payment assistance as Perham. We can pair the two at $7,500 each, so someone may in Perham be able to access up to $15,000 of down payment assistance. So as we looked at all that investment last year, we know it's underrepresented, but well over $100 million of housing investment in Otter County, which is adding to the tax base, which we know is also important. So it's not just adding these units, but making sure we're expanding that tax base throughout the county. We wrapped up early last year a housing needs analysis, and there, as I mentioned, continues to be strong demand, particularly what showed in those areas or were areas of affordable senior rental housing. So not with services, not assisted living, but really that core, just affordable senior rental as a need. So we're working on trying to advance some projects there, but if you know anyone who might be interested in partnering on that, we would love to hear from them. And the other area is the entry-level single-family housing product. So of those 400 plus new homes built last year, many of them were in that upper price range bracket. Folks who were selling a home had the equity to put into a new home, and weren't just concerned if that cost of the home exceeded what that value is. They were willing to kind of eat that loss in equity. But when you get into that entry-level starter home, they don't have that equity to bring with them. And so, again, why we're doing the down payment assistance and different things to try to get more folks into that home ownership opportunity, but then also trying to focus on how can we help our communities expand that entry-level new construction market from a housing product. And speaking of, last year, the county commissioners did invest $2 million into new and expanded programs, including the down payment, some public infrastructure grants, and some other programs as well. And then we have some community partnership grants as well. So that's the high level of the numbers. If you want to go to the next page, this is where we were involved directly. So the first list is where we partnered with communities. Last year, we'll have I would expect an even more expansive list, and will likely include a number of current projects based on preliminary conversations. But we provided tax abatement for some new rental homes in Battle Lake. The Hidden Meadows project is the first time that we as the county, or with our Housing and Redevelopment Authority, are directly building housing. So we are right now building 3 homes in Battle Lake, new construction. Again, affordable, entry-level price points. They're about $270 and $245 for sale prices. 2 of them are sold. Third one is just starting construction, so that one will come online later this summer. So that's a new space for us to be in. It's not, we'd rather partner and not take that role. In this case, the city asked us to try to be a partner in securing some state funding that helped make that project a reality for us. New York Mills, there's a planned department project where we're supporting both through property tax abatement and an infrastructure grant to help a new rental project move forward there. On Pelican Rapids, the community development agency that I staff has acquired or come into ownership, I guess, of the county highway garage. That there's a new one that's been built. So that original site there, about a 3-acre site, we plan to redevelop again into that entry-level single-family housing product. We'll see how the numbers come together there, but we're actively working on that. And then in Dalton, again, entering into the direct construction side, our Housing and Redevelopment Authority is looking to build 2 affordable senior triplexes. So 6 units of affordable senior housing in the city of Dalton in partnership with them. So those are just some examples of how we're directly working with projects in helping overcome barriers or helping communities advance opportunities that they see in their community to move housing forward. We now administer or have in-house at the county our Housing and Redevelopment Authority services and operations. And so the voucher program, which does cover Perham, serves about 100 households a month, and that really provides stable housing for folks. We have a lot of eligible individuals who come through on a monthly basis who aren't able to find a housing unit in the community. So I just mentioned that, and that it's another area where we see a demand that's not being met. And so just I've mentioned there. And then we do own and operate 13 public housing units that are single family or duplexes across the county. So kind of a small piece there, but 60 households on the waiting list for that program as well. So just a high need for additional housing. So that's kind of it from a housing perspective. I'd be happy to take any questions or touch on our other areas, which are broadband and childcare that we focused on last year.
What's the, what do you consider affordable for seniors?
Sure. So the Dalton project, we have been doing community meetings and talking to potential residents, and we're in the range of probably $700 to $900 for monthly rent.
Okay.
Yep. And that one we're right now planning to self-finance. So we're not using any state programs or federal programs, which simplifies the process and gives us that flexibility of defining what those rents would be.
Okay.
Any questions on housing? All right. Maybe I'll just touch on childcare quickly. And I do have a few of these brochures. Certainly childcare connects directly back to our workforce challenges. We have available now, we've received some additional funding from West Central Initiative, but we have some part-time contracted folks who are really experts in the childcare realm, both family care. Heather Newville is our one of our partners who's local here. And then we have another individual who has a center-based experience, and they're available free of charge to help either our existing providers, again, either family care or centers, walk through business plans or help refine maybe what their operating processes are, or for startups. And so helping them navigate the licensure process, the regulations, and access the resources, because there are a lot of childcare resources out there right now, and it's a lot to manage. And so we were appreciative of West Central Initiative to provide us that funding to engage with those two individuals, so they're available. And then we were awarded a state grant in partnership with Perham Health and KLN in their project here, as well as to support other projects throughout the county from a childcare expansion perspective. So we do have funding right now to support startups and our existing providers in remaining stable and investing into their operations. So if you know anyone who's interested in becoming a provider, we have resources to help them do that. And then we've also launched a new application, an app to locate childcare. So internally developed that. If you click on the QR code or go to the county website, you can see a map that you can put your address in and then see, a 1 mile, 5 mile radius from whether it's your employer, where you prefer to find the childcare. If it's near your employer or near where you work or in a certain school district, you can locate providers that are existing today. So that, we did maintain our childcare capacity as far as availability, which is not like many of our neighboring counties. We are actually right now a little higher than we were pre-pandemic for our available childcare. And what I hear from others is that that's not typical. Our neighbors in Stevens County to the south are about half the capacity that they had prior to the pandemic. So we're in a at least stable position, but we know there's still a need of many, many more childcare spots to support our workforce needs. And I'll stop there. Okay. Yeah.
Any last minute questions for
Amy,
Amy?
on the childcare stuff.
Yeah.
So like, are there more communities that are like the one in Battle Lake, right? We built that and then we partnered with like Tiny Types, I think it was, to staff it because we just don't have.
Yeah,
those
the management
resources. Are there
side,
more
yep.
communities looking at that, or is that even becoming harder to track down someone like Tiny Types that's all over the place to manage that?
Yeah, it's a good question. So we are seeing more expansion or growth in the family care, and whether it's a family care license, so that's your traditional, 10 to 14 slot provider, either in, maybe not in their home, but in a alternate setting is more, it's a little more accessible to get up and running, and then maybe they'll phase into a center. That's where some of our employers are getting involved. They're supporting an individual licensed person to start growing it and then kind of get their feet wet, and then are making plans to grow into the center, which as Perham Health is working on that project right now. And I talked to Maggie quite a bit. And so some of it's complex to do a center, starting from scratch and getting the capital like Battle Lake was able to do is unique.
That is what we did. We just
Yeah.
provided space in a center to go to that space.
Yeah. So that's hosting it is another route, but the time it takes to build
So
out.
do they just not, like the ones that are trying to, or if we're trying to track new people, do they just not want it in their home? So is that something where, like if the business community would build a space and rent it out, I don't say rent it out, or however, for them, because I know you're limited on, certain age groups for a certain number of staff, and that's where it gets really tough for them to operate it, because they don't make enough to pay the staff what they need, so.
Yeah, it's challenging in either scenario of doing a center or family care. An employer in Fergus Falls did just have someone who was planning to phase out of her in-home 20-year experience provider, was kind of done with having that in her home, and she's now operating in their the employer's space, and then those slots are for their employees. But it's limited, right? I mean, I think she has 11 kids right now. So, and they have to fit those slots. And then conversely, on the center side, you have the ages and the ratios of, infants and toddlers and preschool, and the ratios for staff to to little people as well. So it's challenging either way. There's a lot of discussion at the legislature on housing, childcare, a lot of these topics, and childcare is another one where it's really a system change that's needed. You know, it doesn't work right now, and yeah, and so we'll see where things get, but there's a lot of layers to it, and
So like this space that you guys had, did that have to follow the same rigorous regulations to offer that as if we were?
yeah, whether it was a
So the business was
standalone
gonna
or
had a space, it would still have to go through all
Well,
of
not
the.
always. If we went with the model where
Mhm.
we leased it to home daycare,
Right, but you guys are doing it, so.
we're doing it to daycare.
which provides, I mean, different benefits of consistency and you know, different, yeah.
And what we're doing for our employees is we're subsidizing the difference in cost, home daycare.
So if anyone is interested, if you're an employer interested in what model might be a fit for you to support childcare, you can also join, we have a workforce convening, I'll fit workforce in here. Next Thursday, it's virtual at 9 a.m. And that will be having one of, Heather Newville will be one of the speakers on that, talking about showing appreciation to the providers who provide care to your employees. So thinking about it from a different lens of how employers can be involved. And then we will have Amy Johnson, our partner on youth workforce, talking about how to successfully host and engage students at a tour at your business operation. So if you don't get those invites from us, give me a call, or certainly Nick can connect you to that as well. Okay, thanks.
It'll be in our
It'll be in our
newsletter.
newsletter too.
Thank you. All right, moving right along, we got quite a few left on the agenda here. We got Christopher Brown, talk to us about St. Paul's Easter eggs.
Well, thanks for having me. My name is Chris Brown. I'm from St. Paul's Lutheran Church and School here in town, and that's the only slide I have.
Perfect.
When I got a call about this, and it's that items in the mirror are closer than they appear. That's kind of where I'm at right now. So, I was listening to Erin and Lacy, and I'm thinking, oh my gosh, I had Erin as one of our youth in our church when I first came. So I've been around for a little while. Just a couple things that I want to share with you. Every 3 years at St. Paul's, we take a group of kids to a different location for what they call the youth gathering, and I know a number of the other churches do similar things. I think Calvary has a youth gathering. Cross Point goes to, I think, do they go to Orlando or something just like a year or so ago? And St. Henry, we all have those different things. So there's always all sorts of different fundraisings that are happening. Nick, we've sold a lot of pizzas through the Pizza Ranch. But one of the things we're trying to think outside of the box, and this is the item that's in my rearview mirror right now that's closer than it appears. We did something called Egg My Yard. And actually this year, I think we're going to rename it Egg My Snowdrift. So, but kind of a neat idea. It's been around. You probably have seen it. We'll be promoting this upcoming week and getting out there. But a great opportunity for the youth to basically put together and deliver Easter egg hunts to people's homes. So we've had a lot of people, retired people who are having family and stuff come in. They're like, hey, 25, 50, 75, 100 eggs. We put them together. We deliver them. If the weather's great, we put them out in your yard. If not, we deliver them, and then you can put them out. So kind of a neat thing there with Turtle Fest. We did a couple years ago. We took on the seafood boil. That is not our thing, especially trying to cook seafood out on the street. And then last year we did the Idaho nacho, the waffle fries and pulled pork. And so we're going to be down at Turtle Fest again, something a little bit different. You've seen us selling sweet corn down in Main Street Express. That's been us for years. So great opportunities. One of the things that's really been my challenge in the youth ministry realm, and one of the things that I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but our youth are active in this community. And what a wonderful, wonderful thing. You see it on the sports side. You see it, we got robotics teams that are just doing really well. I got two of my boys that are going, the Knowledge Bowl teams have been really doing well. We got, the dancers, and then you take a look at the faith communities, and we have a lot of youth active in their churches. And that's wonderful. And one of the things that I'm kind of switching my focus, and I'd like to have some conversation, not only with the community, but also the other, faith organizations, is to move our kids from the idea of just community and getting to do things together to getting the opportunity to lead. How and when are we giving our kids the opportunity to, all right, we're showing you how to do something. Now we're getting out of the way. Now you do. And then you pass that skill and that knowledge and that passion on to somebody else. We see a lot in the sports realms, especially with the kids, leading the little kids. That's great. But I know that in my realm, we do it somewhat, with Vacation Bible School, we get the kids leading the kids. But how about, training? It's like, okay, I know we have our challenge at our church with the AV and all that sort of stuff, and those kids know that stuff more than we do. Well, let's get out of the way and let them teach the next group, multiply. So that's something as far as the community and the business world and stuff like that, I'm thinking, all right, we're not going to necessarily have the kids, like putting the guns in the kids' hands, but you can have those kids, and I'm sure you do, those older youth who have passion about hunting and sports like that, leading those kids. So that's just a challenge for us to be thinking of, how can we be putting our youth, who are our leaders for tomorrow, in opportunities of leadership, not just, hey, I got a job for you. We do this in the kitchen at church all the time. All right. And then I'm like, parents, get out of here. Let the kids lead each other. And those natural ones rise to the surface, and that's really cool. And we get to develop and build those. I don't know if there's anything else on that youth front. It's a real exciting time to be able. We're looking to take. We have 40 kids that want to go on our next youth gathering. That's amazing. It's also, now I've become director of Christian fundraising at our church. So what a great deal, but also an opportunity to not just, hey, we're taking this trip to, it's going to be New Orleans in a couple of years, but to put kids in places of leadership and leading each other, not just in the activities that we're doing, but also especially in the faith realm and sharing their faith and leading each other, those upperclassmen, the younger kids, that such. On the St. Paul school front, I know, I don't know if we've had any updates and sharing on that. We are, if you've gone by our church and our school, you've seen our little portables down at the end. They like to use a lot of electricity, and they are a short-term fix. And we are currently working with BHH, the architects, and on some preliminary, how do you say that word? Preliminary, there you go. I'm the youth director, remember that. So, but just talks, and then I think at our April voters meeting, we're going to be looking at getting approval to actually move to a next planning and architectural stage of our expansion onto our school. We're hoping to have a 7th and 8th grade. We have a 7th grade this year, and it's a very slow process, but it's exciting to see it at the same time. So, any questions? I thank you very much for this opportunity to come and be with you, and especially for all the work that you guys do, and then with the kids.
So, Christopher, you're talking about having the youth come over and take over the bank manager's job at Bremer?
Yeah.
But
I mean, even I mean, obviously, in certain industries and stuff, I mean, you can't just give them the keys to the car and say go with it. But at the same time, we have opportunities to, all right, I see it at the banks where they're training new people, and then I see these young people who have been trained in, and now they're training in the next person. That's great. That's awesome. That's exactly what we're talking about, and we can do that. Think about your world as being your sphere of influence. Now, whether it's at the bank, whether it's in your home, whether it's in your family, your church, your whatever activities it is, in your sphere of influence, how can you give those young people leadership roles? So I can't talk to Tim about what happens at the bank other than what I see, but I know in my sphere of influence, it's like, all right, Peter, that's one of my boys. I'm going to show you how to do the wood stove. And guess what? You get to train your other brother on this. And then I get to kick back, right? Exactly. All right. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Chris. All right, we are watching the clock because the girls' basketball team is going to be driving the bus by here at some point, and we're hoping to get out in the parking lot and cheer them on as they go by. So we're going to move quickly. Veronica from the North Pines Market, Easter egg hunt.
Hi guys, I'm Veronica from North Pines Market, and I'm here to talk about the Easter egg hunt. So my husband and I last year came up with doing an Easter egg hunt. We were always bringing our son, who still does the Easter egg hunt. We were bringing him either to Mills or Otter Tail, and my husband was like, "That's it. We're putting one on for Perham." Like, and the story, there should be one, and 9,000 eggs later, it's a lot of packing. We had a great turnout. Like we have all these eggs, and then the panic sets in that no one's going to show up. So we had around 500 kids, which was awesome. It was like for the first year, everything went great. I don't know, we didn't really hit any struggles. There was less snow, so I'm really hoping for like a heavy melt in the next 2 weeks. We also did a parent Easter egg hunt, which brought so much joy to my husband had balloon. I was taking videos, and I mean, the parents took it seriously. It was like we told them that there was like thousands of dollars out there. There was not. We had like 8 prizes, and it was like going to war. They were falling and tripping and pushing. Like, it was great. So we're doing it. We are obviously doing it again. We are, we're shooting for having more eggs. We've gone through for the most part, all the eggs that we got last year. We had bins that were open, so people it was like, place your empty eggs here, all good things. And so we're really secretly trying to hope for like over 10,000 eggs this year that will get packed and distributed and everything. And then we always have eggs left over that we don't put out just in case for the parents that show up late. The kids can't help that. So we plan for the fact of kids not, so you're not having a meltdown completely. But yeah, so it's a week earlier than last year. It's great. April 8th, last year we had it on the 16th. If anybody would like to, I'm not sure where we're at with volunteers. We're going to have quite a few more volunteers this year just because of how everything pans out and everything. And like I said, we had such a huge showing last year that we're hoping for that again this year. So, but it's really fun just seeing all the kids excited about getting eggs. And we had a process last year. So we had over 150 prizes, and we had little numbers. And basically we told everybody one number per kid. Go find another kid that doesn't have a number. It wasn't like their number was going to, get them something extra special. It was just notifying them that they got something. And so that went really well too. So, we have had some donations. Last year when we started it, my husband and I took on the cost. We were not like looking for donations, and then businesses started reaching out when they heard about it. So this year we have already had donations and everything. If you are interested in donating, we are having another banner printed. We do Facebook shout outs and on the radio and all that good stuff. No pressure. Like, this is not me like, I want you to stuff eggs and donate stuff. Not the case. Just if you would like to participate, even like I said, we have the parent Easter egg hunt, which we have other places. Like, we even have the brewery in DL. They're donating something. So we're just wanting, because the parent egg hunt ended up being a lot bigger than what we expected, we're kind of putting more eggs into that as well. So, but if anybody wants to take one of these, feel free. Like I said, no pressure. This is a no pressure deal. So, all right. I think that's it.
Okay. Questions for Veronica? Otherwise, thank you very much for doing this for our community.
Yeah, thank you.
is also in charge of our Turtle Fest Main Street Fair this year. So she's
Don't tell
coordinating
my
that.
husband. He doesn't know
She
yet.
takes on a lot for us, so thank you very much.
So,
In October.
And Oktoberfest.
in
Yeah.
October. Okay, flyers are there.
Grab a flyer.
Sorry, I have people
Yep.
waiting at the store to
You gotta go.
So,
Thank you. Next, we've got Courtney from the PACC. She's here to talk to us about a triathlon.
Yeah.
It's a thing? Ooh.
Yeah, I don't know if you do any of those things.
No.
Yeah, so we were looking for a fundraiser for our Relay for Life team, the Relay for Life event that happens in July. We were kind of just thinking of ways to get more community involvement without having to like go and sell things. We wanted an active activity that was easy to do at our facility and not have to worry about zoning and figuring out routes and stuff like that too. So we're doing a triathlon at the PACC indoors. It'll be a swim in the pool. We have 6 lanes in our pool, so we're doing 6 people kind of like in a wave. They'll leave every 45 minutes. We're doing relay ones and individual ones as well. So they'll do the 500-yard swim, and then we'll move them into our field house, and they'll do their 13-mile bike on our stationary bikes. Right now, they're upstairs in our spin studio. We're just going to throw them downstairs and put them in the field house so we can kind of spread people out. And then they'll do the run either indoor on the treadmills if it's nasty, or if we get rid of the snow on the track. We've talked to the ADs at the high school, and we're able to kind of get that taken care of too. So we'll do the run on the track if we're able to. That's kind of the goal with it. Yeah, we're looking for just fun event to do. I was in the process of creating a master's swim program and wanted to get more people involved in that adult side with swimming. We've had some interest kind of all over in the pool, and was talking to a few of the guys in there. They work at Kit Masters. They come in and swim. And they were kind of just wanting to trade for their triathlons in the summer that they do. So that's kind of how this got started, and we're excited to see if we fill it, if we don't fill it, and how many people we get and all that stuff. We'll have HOL Nutrition coming to kind of like sell shakes and teas there as well for people that are either coming to watch or want that like before or after the race. We'll probably do some medals for that. We're doing a male and a female division. We're not doing age groups just in case we don't get a lot of people. The max we can have is 30, I think, anyway. So if we have some relay teams that sign up, that'll be a whole different bracket of people because that's faster. But a lot of my lifeguards are planning on doing it. Yeah, we're just really excited. We're looking for a youth group to come in and do a fundraiser or something there as well. We had spoken with the track team thinking maybe they'd want to do like a bake sale or something out at the concession stand at the track kind of after the run is done. And if there's spectators or parents or families coming to watch anybody do the triathlon. And they said they're too busy, they're not interested in doing it. So if any of you guys know of a youth group that wants to just chat about doing something there and selling something, we could do it at the concession stand at the track or inside with HOL, kind of in our overflow space between the roller skating office and the field house, that little enclave there. So if anybody has interest in that, just reach out to me and let me know. We're still looking for groups. I've talked to a lot of the high school coaches, and not a lot are interested right now, just with season starting and stuff like that too. So if you guys know of anybody, that would be awesome. Right now, I think we have 2 people signed up, but registration's online. You don't have to be a member of the PACC to do it. So if anyone's interested, just go on our website and you'll be able to find it out there. Thank you.
Awesome.
Yeah.
The bus.
The bus. It should be.
We're waiting to.
Should be a fire truck. Yeah.
Because they haven't went to.
Thanks, Courtney.
Ashley's not here.
Ashley's not here. Next on our agenda is Ashlea with the Gathering Grounds Underground. She didn't make it, but Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, the Gathering Grounds is open from 4 to 9 p.m. They've got some specialty cocktails that they make downstairs. Their drinks upstairs are still available, so if you want coffees, teas, all that stuff. The menu does change, the food menu from lunch to dinner, or actually it's not dinner, it's appetizers, but
All of the info will be in the Tuesday newsletter.
So check it out. It's really cool.
We're
This
gonna
thing,
rapid fire.
chamber updates.
Talk fast.
Not fast. Small Business Development Center of Central Minnesota is going to be in Perham tomorrow
Come hang out with us at 11.
at the chamber office at 11. So come chat with Small Business Development Center. They offer business consulting free of charge. It's all funded by donations and the SBA. So if anybody has any questions about that, they're going to be there. They're going to be here.
Right.
Home and Cabin Show is this Saturday, believe it or not. We're going to be setting up on Friday, pretty much all day. Cabin Show is Saturday, 7:30 a.m. It's a little earlier start than normal, but we'll have pancakes from the Masons there, and it goes until 3 p.m. To give everybody a chance to tear down and get back home. Enjoy the rest of the evening.
The front parking lot will be the show entrance, and then it'll close after the show. The front entrance of the PACC will not be open for members. It's just a show entrance only.
So lots of parking. See what's going on at the PACC. The playland's going to be open for show attendees and their kids to go check it out free of charge too. So we'll have volunteers in there manning that. Chamber Choice Awards. That's coming up here in April. We've got our winners selected and accepted. Leadership Award went to Brad Offit for his work with the Pickleball Project. Our Hall of Fame inductees this year, Charlie and Bob Kavanaugh both. Our Humanitarian Award goes to Courtney Rooney this year. Volunteer Award is Dave Howie from the radio station. Best in Business, J&L Nutritional Consulting and Backyard Boarding and Play Care for their constant expansion. They just keep growing over there. It's great. And then Small Town Spirit Award goes to Minnesota True North for everything they're doing cross country skiing and involvement in the community. So come out on April 13th at the Cactus, 5:30 social, 6:30 dinner. Tickets are available at the chamber office, $30 a piece. But it's always a fun night to get out and socialize and network with people too. So.
Thank you guys.
Boom. Got anything, John?
No.
Pretty uneventful meeting last night.
Fresh out.
Fresh out of ideas. No. County Road 51, that was brought up last night by the commissioner in attendance. County Road 51, Lakeside Drive, is going to get done this year. So just keep that on your mind. That's Lakeside Drive over by Kinney's Shears. Probably later in the year, so it doesn't interfere with 8 also getting done. We don't want 2 county roads being done at the same time. But that's what's going on. Next Power Hour, April 11th.
And then we're gonna go outside and cheer on the girls.
Yeah, so get your coats on if you want to stick around.
Anybody want a pom-pom?
Lisa's got pom-poms.
You know you want a pom-pom, Theroux.
Yep. He's worried about the senior housing and the detox shops. He budgeted.
Yeah. He's like,